area. Our Cole Miller talked to the local man who says he saw something out there.
Out here it's quiet anyway, and the stars come alive. And it was literally right up there. Not the trees, but way up in the sky.
Sitting on that tailgate, staring up into the dark night.
Whoa,
there it goes, look at it. See?
Oh my God,
Look what it's doing now.
A sight one family won't soon forget.
What is that?
I was in bed. My wife came home, and she was putting some groceries away, and she come running in. Come out, husband, you got to see this. There's something in the sky, and I can't explain it.
At their Gaston home,
I think it was January 11th.
David Stone takes us through that strange encounter.
And it was a spinning, colorful light. And it wasn't too far away, but yet it wasn't right here. You know, it was like, what could it be?
Is it coming closer to us?
No.
Yes, it is. But
This shaky cell phone video showing those dancing lights.
It would spin, and it would get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it would just, poof, just go away for like, I don't know, a quarter mile, half mile, just gone, and then come right back. Got us all fired up. Huh, little buddy?
I was inside looking from the window.
Sharing it on social media, his wife began to see some feedback. That's when Tom Bowden at MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, started his investigation, looking into things like air traffic patterns as well as astronomy, eventually concluding whatever that flashing orb was an unidentified flying object.
Nobody could say one way or the other what it was.
You said you're a skeptic. Are you still a skeptic?
I am. You know, it was just bizarre.
Do you believe there's other beings out there in the space world?
I don't know. God he created the heaven and the earth, so I guess there's more to it than that.
Down here, we may never know everything going on up there. In the meantime, we'll continue to gaze at the skies and wonder, are we alone? Or are we in the cosmic company of something much bigger?
It'd be nice to have an explanation, though, I'd imagine.
I'll look it up when I get up there.
In Gaston, Cole Miller, KOIN 6 News.
What a good story. You can see the video of the UFO spotted by David and his wife on KOIN.com if you want to see it again. We also posted much more information about the UFO Festival and schedule of events this weekend. And you can find out more about MUFON and how to report a UFO sighting if you see one in your neighborhood.
So between a half mile and a mile away, it was big and quiet.
Did Hudson Valley resident Robert Strong see a UFO?
There is something going on.
With thousands of similar accounts across the country each year,
military pilots, Army personnel, the U.S. Navy now, all of them have reported different types of sightings.
And even NASA is conceding it's possible the universe contains different life forms.
We do know that the phenomenon is real.
Experts say the race is heating up to find answers as to who they are, where they're from, and what they may want from us.
Let's go over this way here.
Sam Falvo.
I'm an engineer by trade.
And Chris DiPerno.
I'm a retired major crimes detective.
Investigate unidentified flying objects for the New York chapter of the Mutual UFO Network, or MUFON, a global organization established in 1969.
Most of them, 95% or so, can be identified. It's those 5 or 6% that really stir your interest
that we can't explain.
What they do has long been considered a fringe field of science, but today the search for answers has gone mainstream, with prestigious universities including Harvard and Penn State dedicating some of their brightest minds to this as a new field of study.
We want to get their reply.
And then there's the private sector funding everything from digital, interstellar communication to a dish that emits radio waves. These attempts to communicate with the extraterrestrial world are a bit more high-tech than the recording of unique sounds scientists played from the 2 space probes in the 1970s.
Activity in the Pine Bush area is so common.
But could some answers actually lie closer to home? Author and researcher Linda Zimmerman has investigated some 500 eyewitness accounts of UFOs in the Hudson Valley.
There is the possibility that they are drawn to the water here, the river and the lakes and reservoirs, but also this area has a very unique magnetic field and gravitational field.
Zimmerman and Falvo's organization have now formed a joint venture called Project Ares with the hope of collecting as much human intelligence and data as possible with your help.
We need you to come forward and tell us of your experiences.
30 years ago today, KLAS aired a live interview with an anonymous man who made some really astonishing claims. He alleged that the U.S. military was secretly studying alien technology out in the Nevada desert near a base that is now very well known all over the world, Area 51.
A lot has changed in the decades since Bob Lazar first told this wild story. The Pentagon recently admitted that it really has been secretly studying UFOs and then it wanted to figure out and duplicate that technology.
George Knapp looks back at that 1989 interview that started a whole new conversation.
It's totally impossible. The propulsion system is a gravity propulsion system. The power source is an antimatter reactor. This technology does not exist at all.
The claims sounded like Hollywood sci-fi. Months later, when his identity was revealed, Bob Lazar said he worked at a secret facility near Groom Lake, where alien technology was being reverse engineered, that is, taken apart to figure out how it worked and whether the Pentagon could duplicate it. This is the simple drawing he made at the time.
Here now, I had access and was permitted to view and look at the operation of this main level with the gravity amplifiers and the level below.
The premise seems less preposterous now. In a new documentary about Lazar, he describes in detail the spacecraft he worked on 30 years ago.
The craft that I worked on, that when it's going to travel a long distance, that is how it operates. It flies along and it puts its belly to the target and then brings all the amplifiers to power, and it shoots off in that direction. It doesn't fly as it would in the science fiction movies. It flies with the belly, the bottom forward.
If the description of a spacecraft tilting sounds familiar, take a look at the so-called gimbal UFO, a video released by the Pentagon in 2017. Naval pilots encountered a fleet of these unknown craft off the coast of Florida in 2015 and have since had dozens of similar encounters. The spike in UFO incidents prompted a recent policy change by the Navy, which announced it wants to encourage its pilots to report future incidents. Pentagon officials reluctantly admitted to the New York Times 17 months ago that the military has secretly studied UFO incidents, in part so it might figure out the technology.
In the gimbal video, there's a mechanistic turn against the wind without deceleration. So we have a craft without rotors, without heat signatures, without plumes, without tail fins, and certainly no tail number, moving in a way that is counterintuitive to our own aeronautics. When Bob saw that, he came to the conclusion this has to be a gravity-propelled craft. It's rotating. That it does mimic exactly the propulsion system that Bob Lazar described.
This story is extraordinary.
Jeremy Corbell directed the Lazar documentary, but he also broke the story about another now famous UFO incident, the 2004 Tic Tac encounter. The Navy pilot who engaged the Tic Tac, Black Aces commander Dave Fravor, has said he doesn't believe the astonishing craft was made on Earth, that the propulsion might be anti-gravity. When Lazar was shown the Tic Tac video for the first time, it immediately reminded him of the Sport model, his name for the craft stashed in the desert.
There's no question in my mind. I mean, I'm virtually certain that's the way the craft operated, and that uses close to or the exact same propulsion system.
Former Pentagon intelligence officer Lou Elizondo was in charge of ATIP, the secret Pentagon study. He told us one goal of the project was to determine the physics of UFOs, how they can achieve the seemingly impossible. The military came to believe the craft relied on special metamaterials, stuff that can't be made with known technology. Lazar made similar claims decades ago and was ridiculed. Now the Pentagon is on the same page.
Where the study of UFOs did not end in 1969 with Project Blue Book. In fact, that was a lie, and it is now an admitted lie by our own Pentagon. We are living in a world where it is understood that there are craft technologically advanced from unknown origin that are performing maneuvers that far exceed anything of human technology. This has been going on a long time, and our government has been studying it.
George Knapp, 8 News Now.
As always, we have posted additional links and resources connected to this story on our website, including news reports from our archives.